The kick drives the stroke in breaststroke, and in this video, I'm going to show you my favorite strategies for consistently and reliably building better breaststroke kicks. Hi everyone, Andrew here, helping you help your swimmers get faster. To build an effective breaststroke kick, first we need to understand the importance of the breaststroke kick. The more belief there is about why it's important, the better the results. Next, we'll take a look at the principles that underlie effective breaststroke kicking. In order to build a better kick, we need to understand what we're trying to accomplish. Next, we'll take a look at the challenges associated with building a better breaststroke kick, and that way we can design interventions that overcome those challenges. Then we'll take a look at some of my favorite activities to improve breaststroke kicking, as well as my favorite strategies to make those activities even more effective. Finally, we'll cap it off with some sets to illustrate these concepts that you can either implement or modify to help your swimmers improve their breaststroke kicking. Let's dive in. So why does the kick matter, especially in breaststroke? At a basic level, less propulsion equals less speed, and that's particularly true in breaststroke because the kick contributes more propulsion as a percentage of the entire stroke than any other stroke. Without a strong kick, there's going to be a huge drop in propulsion, a huge drop in speed between the arm pulls, and so the swimmers are going to be slowing down and speeding up, slowing down and speeding up. Not only is that not great for swimming fast, it's extremely tiring. So swimmers are going to swim slower while creating more fatigue if their kick isn't up to par. If you watch solid breaststrokers, it's very difficult to be an effective breaststroker without a competent kick. It doesn't necessarily have to be an amazing kick, but it does have to be competent, and that's something that's seen at pretty much anyone who can swim solid breaststroke. So how do swimmers actually create propulsion with the legs in breaststroke? The main goal is to move as much water backward as possible, as fast as possible with each and every kick. To do that, swimmers need to create a large surface area using the shin and the foot to move water backwards. They need to optimize the duration of that kick, so they want to maintain that surface area for as long as possible throughout the kick, and they need to accelerate the limb throughout the kick to maintain pressure on the water and increase the amount of propulsion that's created. And if swimmers can accomplish all three, they're going to move a lot of water backwards, and they're going to have an effective kick. And from a strategy standpoint, it's pretty simple. They need to turn the feet out, they need to keep those feet wider than the knees, and they need to keep them in those positions for as long as possible while kicking straight backwards. It's not a particularly complicated action. However, that doesn't mean it's necessarily easy to do. So we'll take a look at a breaststroker here, and as you can see, those feet are turned out. They're pointed towards the sides of the pool, and they're wider than the knees. The ankles are maybe in line or maybe slightly outside the knees, so that means the whole foot is outside the knee, and then from that position, it's pretty much a backwards kick. So again, it's all about an effective setup, where as much surface area is facing backwards as possible. So right there, the whole foot's facing backwards, some of the shins facing backwards, and from that position, they're kicking straight backwards, and they're holding those positions for as long as possible. So you can see the feet are out wide, and they stay pretty wide all the way till the end of the kick when they pretty much run out of range of motion. So a big surface area, a long range of motion, and then if we watch here, you're going to see the setup is patient, and then boom, the feet accelerate through the back of the kick, and that's going to maintain pressure on the water. So again, big surface area, long range of motion, and an acceleration of the leg throughout the kick. We're going to watch two different swimmers here, and what you'll see is that one kick is a little bit more narrow on the right, one kick is a little bit wider on the left, but if you watch, both swimmers have their feet turned out, both swimmers have their feet wide, and both swimmers are going to kick straight back. And so if you watch both swimmers, the one on the right's a little bit ahead, so feet are out there, kicking straight back, and then the feet are out here, and they're also kicking straight back. The swimmer on the left has a wider kick than the swimmer on the right, but both swimmers are still executing those same basic principles of creating a big surface area, holding that surface area throughout the kick, and kicking straight back with accelerating limb speed. So it's the principles that matter, and different swimmers are going to use a slightly different strategy based upon their structure. And those differences in structure brings us to one of the major challenges of improving breaststroke kicking. There isn't a perfect kick that's going to apply equally to everyone. While the principles apply to everyone in terms of big surface area, big range of motion, and big acceleration, swimmers are going to need to do different things in order to best accomplish those goals for them. They've got different tools. There's different limb length, there's different joint range of motion, they have different levels of strength, they have different levels of endurance. And all these factors interact to produce different kicking variations. So we have to find solutions that work for a given swimmer rather than just trying to have everyone adhere to a specific model. Another major challenge with breaststroke kicking is it's a very unnatural skill that many swimmers struggle with. There's nothing that we do on land. There's no other actions in life that are anything like breaststroke kicking, and so it's not a natural thing. It's not really a human movement that we would otherwise engage in, and so while the concept is simple, the application is not, because it's very counterintuitive to most swimmers, and they simply don't have much practice moving the body in the ways that are demanded by breaststroke kicking. So having discussed why breaststroke kicking is so important, the principles behind effective breaststroke kicking, as well as the challenge of helping swimmers learn effective breaststroke kicking, let's dive into the solutions. I'm going to go over 3 different kicking activities that I found really helpful to improve breaststroke kicking, and then I'm going to go over 3 strategies that you can use with any of these activities to further accelerate the development of an effective breaststroke kick. The first strategy is vertical breaststroke kicking. So by changing the orientation of the body from horizontal to vertical, we can change the perspective, and if we can change the perspective, we can change the perception. So many swimmers struggle with a quick and effective setup of the kick. Vertically, they've got to set up the kick quick or they're going to start to sink. Many swimmers struggle with a backward orientation of the kick, and with vertical kicking, they need to kick straight down or they're going to start to sink. And many swimmers also struggle with accelerating the kick, and again, if swimmers don't accelerate the kick, they're going to sink. So to keep the head above the water, swimmers have to engage with all these skills in a way that's not necessarily demanded when they're kicking on a board or kicking on their back or they're moving horizontal through the water. And it's really easy to add further challenges to vertical kicking by simply adding resistance or altering the kick rate, both of which we'll talk about later. Vertical breaststroke kicking is pretty straightforward. You just have the swimmers vertical and you just have them kick straight down. The higher the hands are out of the water, the more challenging it's going to be. So you can just have them go arms across the chest. You can have them hold the hands out like this swimmer, or you can even have them go in streamline if you want a real challenge. So again, the main goal is to kick breaststroke and keep the head up, and they're going to execute great skills if they just follow those instructions. The next series of activities that I really like are either 2 kick 1 pull, 3 kick 1 pull, or 4 kick 1 pull. And so a great kick needs to be integrated in the stroke. You want to avoid situations where swimmers are really effective on a board, but really struggle to integrate the kick into their swimming. So with these drills, swimmers can improve their kicking skills in the context of breaststroke. They can also overload the legs, the physical capacities of the kick, in the context of breaststroke as well. And so for that reason, they can be really, really useful in addition to more pure kicking activities. And so these drills form a bridge from those pure kicking activities to full stroke swimming. And then you can either emphasize the kick or the integration, depending on the specific strategy, the specific activity that you choose to use. For instance, 4 kicks, 1 pull, it's going to be a lot more emphasis on the kick itself. And then 2 kicks, 1 pull, there's going to be a lot more emphasis on integrating the kick. So this is 3 kicks, 1 pull. So the swimmer is going to take 1 pull, and then they're going to take 3 kicks. And so they're going to be in line taking those kicks, and then they're going to come up, and they're going to integrate that first kick into the rhythm of the stroke, and then add the extra kicks after that. And so again, you can have them go 2 kicks between each pull, or you can have them go 4 kicks between each pull. You can certainly do more than that, but at some point it becomes more of a hypoxic challenge than you probably want. And again, the point is to learn to integrate the kick into regular full stroke swimming, and so you don't want to have too many kicks in between the pulls. But regardless, it's a really effective activity for 1, developing the kick, and 2, helping swimmers learn to integrate kick timing into their stroke. When it comes to actual kicking, I prefer to have swimmers use a lot of different kicking positions in order to fully develop the breaststroke kick. So by kicking in different positions, they have to manage the kick and execute the kick in slightly different ways. Each position is going to stress the legs in different ways, and that's going to help swimmers build a more complete kick. You can have swimmers kick on the stomach versus the back. You can have them have their arms overhead in streamline or by the side. You can have them have their head up. You can have them have their head down with a snorkel. You can use a kickboard. You can use no kickboard. And obviously you can combine these different strategies in different ways. Each way is going to put pressure on a slightly different aspect of the kick, and that's going to help swimmers develop more skill in different areas of the kick. And the more complete their kick is, the more complete their skills are, the more effective they're going to be overall at breaststroke. So by switching it up, by varying the type of kicking you do, you're much more likely to develop a more complete breaststroke kick. You can emphasize 1 or 2 of these different kicking positions. However, I still try to include all the different variations in some form, even for really small amounts of volume, in order to get a little bit more variety. When it comes to creating more propulsion, using resistance is going to be effective for pretty much every skill, and that's certainly no less true in breaststroke kicking. And so swimmers have to create more propulsion to overcome the added resistance. And then the resistance also encourages swimmers to kick more directly backwards. As we talked about before, an effective kick is all about moving a lot of water backwards. In order to do that, they got to kick backwards. Another really great benefit of the resistance is it helps swimmers feel the pressure they're creating on the water with the legs. And so that awareness can help their skills. And if they're kicking backwards and all of a sudden they feel a loss of pressure, they're much more likely to correct that when they can feel it. And the extra resistance is going to make it much more likely that they can feel that and then make that change. And of course, extra resistance provides extra load. Extra load leads to more strength in the legs. More strength in the legs means swimmers can create more propulsion. They can learn to accelerate the limbs faster while still holding the same amount of water with the feet. So for all these reasons, resistance training is really effective. And so you can either use it in terms of resisted swimming, where they're kicking against a parachute, kicking against pulleys, kicking against a stretch cord, it doesn't really matter. Or you can actually resist the feet themselves and put drag socks on the feet, which is going to create a very different stimulus, but also a very beneficial stimulus. And so you can vary the type of resistance that you use, so you can vary the types of resistance to get better skill development as well. Our next strategy is kick count. And I talk a lot about using stroke count in various swimming activities, and kick count, especially with breaststroke kicking, is particularly effective as well. And so you're going to demand efficiency of the kick. They have to learn how to get more out of each kick when they have kick count requirements that they have to meet. It also provides an objective measurement, and it's a second way to measure progress. Obviously, we're keeping track of speed, and so if we're keeping track of kick counts as well, now swimmers have two different ways to improve, and they have two very different ways to improve. The more performance feedback that they get, the faster they're going to learn. And another great aspect of having an objective measurement is swimmers actually have to change their kick in order to get a different kick count. And so sometimes they think they're making a change, but if the numbers don't change, the change isn't significant enough. And so swimmers have to go back and they have to make a more dramatic change in order to get the kick count to change. And having an objective measurement can be really powerful for encouraging swimmers to do something different. And when you add speed to kick count requirements, they're even more effective. So things like descending at the same kick count, minimizing kick count in time, or going as fast as possible at a given kick count, these are all really great ways to help swimmers learn how to build speed and length in the same activities. And if they can learn to kick longer, they can learn to kick faster. That means they're going to have a really effective breaststroke kick. And by using kick counts, you can start to measure some of this stuff, make it more objective, and really encourage swimmers to change. Our last strategy is kick rate. It's actually similar to kick count in that it requires swimmers to create more length per kick. They just need to create as much speed as they can at a given kick rate. It's particularly effective when paired with speed expectations. And so if you have swimmers descend at the same kick rate or go as fast as possible at a given kick rate, the only way they can improve in those two tasks is by being more effective with each kick, getting longer with each kick, because they can't move the feet faster, but if they can be more effective with each kick, they'll be able to kick faster. So this strategy is a really great complement to kick count. Again, it's objective, and it really encourages swimmers to find more effective ways of executing their kicking. So how do we actually put these different solutions, these different strategies into practice with specific sets? Well, let's take a look exactly how to do that. So this set is more of a skill set. They're going to go 3 rounds through. Each round is going to go 425s breaststroke kick, 425s 3 kicks 1 pull, 425s 2 kicks 1 pull, and then 425s breaststroke. And each of those 425s, they're going to take one less kick or one less stroke per 25. So they have to learn how to create more efficiency, get more out of each kick. And the first round they have a parachute, second round they have drag socks, third round they have no resistance. So there's no speed requirements here, but swimmers have to learn how to get more efficient, and they have to do so while overcoming the resistance in the first 2 rounds and then without resistance in the last round. And the resistance changes, so it's going to be a little bit different feel between the first and the second round. And so the goal here is to move from pure kicking and then build our way into regular breaststroke. And they're still trying to be more and more efficient as they go, taking one less kick for the first 3 sections and then one less stroke for the 4th section of each round. Ultimately, the idea here is really encouraging swimmers to figure out how to get more out of each kick. And to do that, they're going to have to overcome the resistance and create more propulsion. Second set here is more of an endurance-based kick set. And what we're going to do is use several different kicking positions. We're also going to have swimmers descend at the same kick rate. So they have to, again, be more effective with each kick. They can't move the feet faster, but they have to get faster. So that means they have to find a way to have a more effective kick. The first piece, they're going to go 350s breaststroke kick on the back, descend 1 to 3 to strong at the same kick rate. Then they're going to go 50 breaststroke kick on the back, very strong, and then a 50 breaststroke strong. The next section is done the same way, except they're going to kick on a board with a snorkel. The next section's on the back, but now they're in streamline. And then the last section is kick on a board, but without a snorkel. Each piece is done the same way. They're trying to be more and more effective with the kick and then create some speed on those last 2 50s. Do the whole thing twice, and what you can do is increase the kick rate on the second round and then expect swimmers to go faster. So finding ways to be more effective and more efficient with the kick, and then challenging the kick in a lot of different positions to build a broader base of skill, and then trying to put that all together with some strong breaststroke kick and some strong breaststroke swimming. Our last set is more of a speed-based set, and they're going to go 3 rounds through. They're going to go 4 times, 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, vertical kick with drag socks. That's fast. They've got to create a lot of downward propulsion, and they've got to do it against the resistance of the drag socks. Then they're going to go 425s breaststroke kick with a board and drag socks, minimize kick count and time. And then 425s odds, 4 kicks, 1 pull with drag socks, evens regular breaststroke with drag socks, minimize stroke count and time as well, and then a 50 breaststroke fast. And they'll repeat that the second section, except now they're going 20 seconds on, 40 seconds off on the vertical kick, which is going to allow them to put more gas into it, to go harder effort, to go faster. And then on the 425s, the odds are minimized stroke count and time, the evens are fast. And then on the next section, instead of going 4 kicks, 1 pull, they're going 3 kicks, 1 pull. Last round, they're going to go 10 on, 50 off. So now they can go really fast on the vertical kick. The 425s are all fast for the breaststroke kick. And then they're going 2 kicks, 1 pull instead of 3 kicks, 1 pull on the 425s, and we'll finish off with another 50 breaststroke fast. So we go from vertical kicking to kicking on a board to drilling and swimming. We've got drag socks throughout that whole thing, so they're going to have to be really effective with creating propulsion, and we're using kick counts and we're using time in order to create more pressure on performance, making sure that they're creating speed and efficiency at the same time, and then swimmers can put it all together with a 50 breaststroke fast. So challenging swimmers kick in a lot of different ways. There's a lot of novelty and there's a lot of pressure on executing really great kicks from different perspectives. So it's a great way to really encourage swimmers to create more propulsion with each kick. More propulsion with each kick means faster breaststroke kicking. Faster breaststroke kicking means faster breaststroke swimming. So we've gone over why breaststroke kicking is so important. We've gone over how swimmers can create a lot of propulsion, which is by moving a lot of water backwards. And they can do that by creating a big surface area, maintaining that surface area through a long range of motion, and accelerating the kick. We've talked about how swimmers need to find individual solutions based upon their own structure, and we've gone over strategies that help them do that. Between vertical kicking, between adding extra kicks while swimming, and between kicking in different positions, we have different activities that can really help swimmers learn to kick more effectively. And by using resistance, kick counts, and kick rates, we can really challenge swimmers to perform in those different activities and encourage them to create more propulsion with each kick. Hope that was helpful, and as always, keep it simple.